Hello, welcome to Heritage Homestead. My name is Natalie, and today I wanted to share a little bit about what we're doing right now to prepare for the colder months ahead. We've had such beautiful weather that I haven't really wanted to, or maybe made the time to sit down and plan out the next 3 months. Where we live from September to December is such a beautiful time of year, but it's also a really busy season for us. So if I'm going to get it all done, I really need to do some planning. There isn't any way that I can show everything, but I decided to take along the camera and show you what we've been up to. Toward the end of summer, we really tried to stock up on quite a few bales of hay for our cattle. There is nothing worse than midwinter running out of hay and then trying to find some. So the kids really enjoy this process. We have a friend who will load the hay on our trailer for us, and then when we get home, we just put some pallets down and we roll the hay bales right onto the pallets, and it's actually a really fun process. My kids love running on the hay bales. They might not love pushing the hay bales, but once it's all finished, everybody's excited, and there's some positivity that usually comes with hard work. I have really good memories as a kid doing hay with my grandfather, and then of course running on the hay bales. It was always fun. So this gets me very excited when this process starts happening. I love season change, so I really appreciate just prep work that goes into the next season. Right before fall comes is usually a really good time to patch holes or fix fence, or kind of all those loose ends that need to be tied up. This is a really good season to do that in because usually it gets cooler outside. The rain is more predictable, and the weather is just mild for the kids to be outside all day long helping you or just having fun. So I don't know, it's probably one of my favorite seasons. I think I can find a favorite in every season, but definitely right before fall hits, I just get so excited about scrubbing, the cattle trough and making sure everybody is got a clean bed of hay in their shelter and everything is, pretty much prepared outside. So when my family spends most of the time inside during the winter months when it's super cold, I have peace of mind that everybody outside is safe and warm. This is our beloved Coda, and she is well loved. She apparently thinks the grass is greener on the other side because the kids will bring her grass from our yard and she will eat that over the grass in the field. So they think it's funny, and I think that at this point it has become a game to them. Finding good hay and alfalfa for your animals can be a challenge sometimes. I know the first couple of years when we started homesteading, we found out really quickly that we needed to make some good relationships with the farmers nearby us. And so far, God has really opened doors and blessed us to find the right people with the right prices. So you'll just see here Jason stacking some alfalfa with our girls, and most of that's for our milk cow. If you did not find me reading a book with my children, maybe homeschooling or in the kitchen baking something, you will definitely find me in the garden. This garden is a labor of love, and it's just so peaceful out here. I love the breeze. I love going barefoot. It makes me so happy and very grateful that God sees to it that He would provide such an abundance for us that I'm able to freeze and preserve all that we've grown, and we can store it away for the winter months. I have learned over the years of gardening that you don't want to take anything from your garden that you're not willing to either harvest that day or the next day. it's too many things in your refrigerator and it just kind of bogs you down. And for me, it's always in the back of my mind. You've got to do it. You've got to do it. You've got to get that out of the refrigerator and get it stored, you know. So that's kind of the rule of thumb for me, is that when I go to harvest something, especially in the fall, I need to either harvest it that day or be willing to do it in the next few days. Otherwise, I don't pick it. So it just stays in the garden until I'm ready. And right here, you're just going to see that I am taking the beets and cutting the tops off. Now, you can saute those, and they're really good with butter and salt. But today, I just decided to give it to the chickens, and I have so many beets that I really don't need to saute the tops anymore. The kids are kind of tired of that, and I like to change up our routine in the kitchen anyway. So today it's going to the chickens, and I'm going to be keeping these beets back for pickling them. I know I keep repeating myself about my favorite things, but definitely one of the top favorites is picking pears and apples in the fall. Now, we have a lot more apple trees than we do pear trees, but this particular day I decided just to go ahead and grab the camera and pick some pears with the kids and get those harvested. These particular pears are Asian pears, and the reason why I like these so much is because they're a little bit hardier than the other varieties. So the day that we decide that we're ready to pick the pears, we will only pick a bushel or two at a time and place them in our overflow refrigerator to cure for about 3 or 4 weeks. After that, they're able to stay on your table or your countertop well over a month. Well, we're going to fast forward about 2 weeks after harvesting all of those pears, and here you're going to see Jason digging post holes. So if anybody has ever dug a post hole by hand, you will completely understand why we went ahead and decided to rent this machine, because we were going to do one entire side of the property, and we had already cleared all of the brush, which just seemed to take forever. So we said, why don't we just go ahead and rent the post hole digger and make this a little bit easier and faster. We have pretty rocky soil around here, so you can just imagine my excitement to get these holes dug a lot faster. Thinking back to all of the years that we dug holes by hand, put the post in and did fence, and we didn't use any machines. I'm just really excited at how fast this project is going, and we're getting it done before the cold weather sets in, so that's really exciting. Once we got the gate leveled, it was time to start on the barbed wire. So we decided that we were going to start at the top of the hill and work our way down towards the gate. What a beautiful morning. So happy with the harvest this year. So excited. So you can tell that the color in all of the plants are starting to get a little more brown and drier. So this is the time where I just decide that this is going to be the last picking of all of the produce, whether it's green beans or beets or carrots or the last of the tomatoes before a freeze sets in. As much as I love gardening, I really like the end of the season. It just causes me to want to reflect on the goodness of God and what He has provided in the garden all year, what I've been able to can and freeze for the upcoming cold season. Thinking about long-term and short-term budgeting is something I really enjoy, because Jason and I are really have strong convictions about not doing any projects around the farm unless we have cash for it. So planning in that area definitely is something that I think about a lot. We really want to have wisdom in the area of our finances, so we usually stock our freezers in the fall full of our meat. If we're not butchering enough on our own farm, we usually buy from some friends of ours that usually have either cattle or pigs. So that is another way that we budget. Where we are located, I am very grateful for the warmth and sunshine that autumn brings. It doesn't rain as much as it does in spring, and the weather is just a little more predictable, so I'm still able to cut my roses and summer flowers that I've been growing all year. The flowers do slow down a little, and there's not an abundance like summer brings, but I can still make my table arrangements really beautiful, and it feels very cozy inside during this season. In the meantime, Jason is working on our chicken coop door. It had rotted out and wasn't a great design to begin with. He decided to restructure the door, and here he is teaching the kids how to make the hatch and designing a new Dutch style. We liked this part on the last one that we built and made sure to implement this again. If we're gone during the day, we leave the hatch door open. I like to leave the top Dutch door open to let some sunshine come in. If we have baby chicks running around, we will usually close the bottom hatch. This just works really well for what we need during this season of life.
Last spring, we ended up putting a new door on our chicken coop. But whenever I did it, we didn't have time to go ahead and finish it out. So we ended up just doing a sheet of plywood, pressure treated plywood or outdoor plywood. But we needed a little door for our chickens to be able to come out into the field. And so today we ended up hanging this, and just a little tip from past experience. The first time I did this, the same design as what we had on our last chicken coop, but the first time I did it, I decided to cut the door and then hang it with 2 hinges. And what I learned was that if you go ahead and put the whole door up with the 4 hinges there, and then go ahead and cut your line, then your hinges line back up, because last time it took me forever to get this to where it was even and the doors didn't pinch themselves whenever they're opening. So we went ahead and got that done today. And then, of course, we're going to have to finish a little bit of adjustments and stuff out here. But as we have this, it's nice to be able to have 2 doors. One to kind of let this air circulation go through, but then at nighttime, we'll close it just to keep the owls and stuff out of it. And then during the day, they can come out that hatch door. And most of the time we leave it open, but sometimes we'll close it once they're in there. And then they can go into the back part of the coop. You can see the chickens coming in from the back part.
Well, we're going to fast forward a couple weeks, and now the corn is ready to be harvested, and I am pulling all of the leftover onions that I didn't pull last month. And I kind of tend to do this with onions. I stagger them out a little bit so I have time to harvest the first set, and then there is a second set that I'll usually pull and wash dry, and sometimes I will freeze these or I will dehydrate these depending on what I'm getting ready to use them for. I probably will use these particular onions for dehydrating. I like to use them in my winter casseroles and soups. I just feel like they have more of an earthy taste. If I pick them too early, they have more of a sweeter taste. So it just probably depends on your preference. For the harvesting of the corn, I like to dry my corn on the stalk before we pull it, and that usually happens sometime in late November, early December. We usually make cornbread during the winter time, so that's typically what we'll use our corn for.
Hey, and guess what? I see another one. Oh, we see a lot, don't we? I think we're gonna. Yeah. She's excited. You're actually picking, hold on. We're actually picking corn today. So, do we have a lot of corn?
Yes.
Do you know what it should look like?
Yeah.
When,
Yellow.
Yellow, that's true.
Oh, yellow.
On the inside. Please.
Looks like.
Should look like. See if we can get this done really quick. Woo! I'm sorry. And some worms have gotten into that.
Ooh.
That's okay. We'll get them out.
Ooh.
Well, I wasn't kidding when I said apples were my favorite thing to harvest. I love everything about fall. I love apple cider, we love apple pie, apple turnovers. There are tons of things to make with apples, and it's just really endless. The kids really enjoy coring apples for me. They always ask, and I never have enough apples as I do hands sometimes. So they like making apple rings and dehydrating them. That makes for some fun snacks. Hands down, their favorite is to make applesauce with me. It's probably the easiest and fastest thing that I water bath. The requirements to make applesauce is pretty simple. You core it, you throw them into a big stock pot, you cook them down until they're soft and mushy. I usually take a stick blender and puree it, and then I pour the pureed apples into clean jars and water bath them for about 20 minutes. I usually can between 300, 350 quarts of applesauce per year, and the amount I make really depends on the price of apples from year to year. I would like to take a minute here and encourage some moms that might be watching and wondering about juggling duties and people and time management all at one time and not be overwhelmed. And my answer to all of the questions you're probably asking is no mom really gets it done. The reality is we have to take time out of our day to teach our kids skills and what it really takes to run a home. It's important that my kids become leaders, and I feel like it's my responsibility as their mom and their teacher to provide them opportunities and the right environment to flourish. And as you can see, Jason also has a huge role in our children's lives. And even though he may not necessarily be right next to me canning or cleaning, he certainly is a huge part of our children's world. Both Jason and I have learned a lot in marriage. For us, we have found it best to do life together and see the fruit of becoming a dynamic team for our entire family. And having that mindset, no matter if it's butchering or harvesting, breeding animals, or learning new things, all of that has been life-changing for both of us. So as we both navigate being lead team members on all of what we do around here, we have to keep in mind what our goal is for the day. I do want my kids to understand that everybody in this world has to work if they're going to eat. And it's important to enjoy what you do. So as their mom, I'm reminded to be really intentional about coming up with creative ways to make life and work as fun and as enjoyable as possible. So whatever it is that we do together, my kids are good about reminding me to laugh and have a good time. We're more content as people when we focus on what is truly important, and that's each other. God has called all mothers to guide their children. I am asked to plant seeds of kindness and of love, and I'm to teach my children that material possessions and earthly pleasures are just worldly concerns. Those will fade and disappear. I would rather focus on doing the best I am able today, and tomorrow I'll wake up knowing that God is still in charge and He is who determines the outcome.
Does it feel good on them?
Mm-hmm.
How do you know that? Have you been a goat?
The old saying, the home should be the treasure chest of living. I want to remember that every time we go to do anything like hauling hay, fixing fence, or harvesting the garden, because it's really not about those things. It's about what our purpose is, what kinds of influences that we bring into our families' lives, and raising our children to put people over projects. I want them to value relationship. And at the end of the day, when we're tucking our babies into bed, that unity makes doing life together worth every ounce of effort.